an introduction to co-writing. So you might be watching this video having done a fair amount of co-writing before, or maybe you're watching this video and you are terrified of co-writing. What am I going to say? What am I going to do? What are they going to think? How is this going to flow? And we're going to talk about some of those things in this session. I'm going to start by sharing my top 4 reasons why I love co-writing. There's so many things that I love about co-writing. My top 4 reasons. The first one being unity. There's something so dynamic that happens when you get together with other believers for a common goal. I believe what it says in the Psalms, that where their brethren dwell together in unity, the Lord commands a blessing. Can you get a blessing on your own? Absolutely. But I found so many times in my own life and in so many other people that I've co-written with, co-writing, I believe, is the way to create. Even when you look throughout history of different people, like even sculptors and painters and all the different people throughout history, if you actually look at the details surrounding their life, this whole idea of like you go to a cabin in the woods for 5, 10, 15 years, and you come out being this phenomenal songwriter, you come out being this amazing painter, and you do all these different sculpture things or whatever it is. When the truth is, even throughout history, like all these men and women throughout history that we laud as these amazing creatives of painters or sculptors, they were actually around other people who at the time were better than them in their craft. And what did they do? They learned, they gleaned, they pay attention. And now you remember their name. All these years later, you don't remember the person who mentored them or the person that they were watching. In their day, they were more famous, but this person was saying, I'm paying attention and I'm learning and I'm gleaning and I'm growing. Unity is one of the best reasons why you should co-write. The second one, I kind of mentioned it, is learning. I learn so much as I come in with a spirit of humility, which we're going to talk about later here. When I come in not thinking that I have everything, not that I think that I have the best ideas, when I come in from a spirit of humility, I will always learn and pick up things. Even in like I could tell you about one of like the worst co-writing sessions I've ever had in my life. It was horrible. I still learned a lot. Not so much about how to songwrite, but more how not to songwrite and how not to co-write. And I also learned for myself, like I never want to be like that person, right? So even in those times, I'm learning something. The third thing of why I love co-writing is it's really a unique opportunity. This is something that like preachers can't really do. Maybe you have some like husband and wife couples who co-teach or co-preach or whatever, but it's really, really hard to co-preach or co-teach. So as believers who are serving the church, this is an amazing way that we have, a unique opportunity we have to dwell together in unity and to create something for the church, to bless the church together. It's like you're like forging a path together. And if I'm in a forest, I don't want to just be alone with my machete, trying to forge a path to get somewhere. I'd much rather be with 2, 3 other people, and we all have machetes, and some are really skilled in their machetes, and we're forging a pathway together. And so really like the unique opportunity that we have is not just to create art, but also it's a unique opportunity to grow in and of ourselves, grow in humility, learn, and to glean from others. So unity, we're going to learn a lot. It's a unique opportunity. And then the fourth reason why I love co-writing is that it teaches me that skill and talent is not the most important thing. Character is the most important thing. I've been in co-writing sessions before where the most talented person in the room was the least important piece of the co-writing session, because in their laud and in their desire to be the most talented person in the room, they completely lost the unity of the other people in the room, and they ended up kind of doing their own thing. And the other 2 or 3 co-writers, we were kind of like, okay, wow, we're really, really not jiving this, we're not vibing this. Love that you have great melodies, love that you have a great voice, love that you can write great lyrics, but it teaches me that creativity is not everything. And you'll learn that as you get into co-writing. So much of co-writing is about learning to lead the room, read the room, learning to have humility, and learning to how do you draw people together in a spirit of unity to do something. It's an amazing opportunity, not without its challenges, but it's definitely something that you can learn and grow into. So another thing I really, really strongly suggest that people do when they enter into co-writing is establish some co-writing guidelines, okay? Co-writing guidelines. You're not going to have a form that anyone signs or a checklist or anything like that, but have these in the back of your brain. And if you see this becoming an issue in your co-writing session, kind of bring a couple of these points out. So a guideline, for example, a couple of guidelines that I would put in a co-writing session is, hey, in this co-writing session, we all need to be honest. Okay, you need to say whatever you're thinking. In this co-writing session, we all need to be vulnerable. We need to share without restraint or fear. We need to agree on, royalty structures and splits and all those types of things, beforehand. Even doing it through an email, it's not fully legal, but is a good way to do it. And we also have to agree on who's allowed to be added to a co-writing session afterwards. I included this point for a reason, because I've been in some co-writing sessions before where, the 3 or 4 of us write a song, and then, that song has a life of its own, right? And then this one person, this one artist, takes it, whatever. And without asking anyone else in the group, they added a 5th writer to say, hey, I think you're really going to add, bring a lot of life to this. And in the end, I'm like, hey, that's amazing, because I want to see a song get as good as possible and go as far as possible. So I'd be a fool to say, no, it's just the 4 of us. I don't want their opinion. So I loved it, but I wasn't asked beforehand. It was like after the fact. So just as co-writers, have some simple guidelines that you guys kind of talk through beforehand. Because again, it all starts happy-go-lucky. It's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. We're co-writing together. But I've just seen enough situations and circumstances. So I'm just shooting you guys straight. Talk about some of that stuff. Again, even in an email, just say, hey, super simple, like, are we all in agreement on doing this? And everyone replies all, and it's just at least documented somewhere. So another thing I'd encourage you to do is establish some co-writing goals. Now, again, this can be, don't go in with all these points, and you'll be really, really weird, but have some of these in the back of your mind and kind of bring them up in conversation, especially if you're co-writing at your church or in your community on a regular basis. So what are the goals for our co-writing sessions, right? What kind of songs do we want to write? Now, again, I'm talking to people who write worship songs for the church. Maybe you're in a co-writing group that you write, country songs or pop songs, whatever it is, that's great. But so for you and your co-writing group, I'd say, again, who I'm talking to, we want to write songs for the church to sing. Okay, great. Are we looking for like CCLI Top 100? Are we looking for our county to sing it? Are we looking for the 7 churches in our network of churches and our multi-site campus to sing? Or we just want it like to be us to sing in our little, prayer house or whatever it is? Talking through some of those things is really, really helpful. Again, you can flex it and you can change it as you go, but it's a good thing to talk through, because some people, I promise you, have different expectations of where they want that song to go, of how far they want that song to go. Some people are like, I just want to write the simplest song. I don't care whoever sings it. And maybe that's true, and that's great, and that's beautiful. But if the other person in your co-writing group wants it to go far, it's just a good thing to talk through. Your co-writing goals, do you want it to be a corporate song or a journey type song? And again, that can flex and change depending on your co-writing session. Do you want your song to have more of a Godward focus, exaltation theme? Do you want your song to have more of an intercession and like a prayer, supplication type theme? Is there a limited time on your writing sessions? Like, are people coming in from out of town? Is this a Zoom group? Do you guys live in the same city? Are you committed to write, twice, 4 times, 6 times? And you can totally flex and see, what ends up happening and what feels good for you guys. But having some basic goals to say, hey, I want to write with this group of people. Can we get 6 co-writing sessions on the calendar and see what happens? Maybe 2, maybe 4. And then you write with this different group of people over here and say, hey, let's do 4 sessions over here. And then you begin to kind of actually see, okay, maybe I want to establish these goals, because with this group, I worked really, really well. This group was really, really challenging. So these are just kind of some introductory things to have in your brain when it comes to co-writing. Again, I said a lot of things. Don't think of all these things. You don't have to write all these things down and come to a co-writing session with them. But I think a couple of things, 1 or 2 or 3 points that I mentioned are really, really helpful, especially if you are a new co-writer. So happy co-writing. I hope you write some incredible songs. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into my studio. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope it was encouraging to you. If you are a songwriter, or you want to begin to develop as a songwriter, or you want to begin to get into co-writing, I want to take a quick second and tell you about an online community that I run called Journey. Journey is made up of worship leaders from around the world, and they've all committed to meet together once a month for 3 hours of co-writing. So you join Journey, and I place you into a virtual co-writing group. You also get a co-writing training, so you're going to be equipped to step into these sessions and actually bring something to the table. So there's no worries. If you've never co-written before, we got you covered. Another thing you're going to get as a part of Journey is to be able to send me 3 to 4 songs a year that I'll personally assess and critique and offer feedback of how to make the song better. And then we've also added in a leadership development track. So not only are you going to grow as a songwriter and a co-writer, we're also committed as a group to meet together twice a month, all of us together on Zoom. where we're going to talk about different leadership principles of how to grow both on stage, off stage, as songwriters, how to overcome insecurity, how to become a better pastor to our worship teams, and all sorts of other topics that we cover. So if this is of interest to you, I encourage you to click the link below. Would love to have a conversation with you to see if Journey is a good fit for you.